All right, welcome everyone. My name is Coach David, and I'm here with Financial Aid Secrets. Today it is September 25th. It is Wednesday, like every other week that we are here. Wednesday, 6 o'clock. We are getting started with kind of like what is happening this year. Okay. The reason why I want to bring this up is because now colleges have started to make decisions. They've started to kind of show us what they're going to be doing for the financial aid cycle. So I want to make sure that we share that with everybody, so that we are able to, share that with everyone. Okay. We do have a quick question here. It says, how do we get the previous recordings? Okay. So if you are part of our coaching program, right, they will be in our kind of like unlisted YouTube playlists. Okay. So you can ask in your either in the support channels or in your private blueprint channel, and we will provide those to you. For our Facebook friends, right, that are coming from Facebook, you can actually go back to previous weeks. We post a kind of like a short kind of what would we call it? A meme, right? Or like we have a short post asking if you want the replay for that particular week. Okay. So if you do want previous week's ones, you can always go post there, and then our team will get to it and then send you that replay. Okay. All right. Perfect. So let's go kind of straight into kind of what we are talking about here. Okay. So just like we do every single week, give me 1 second. It's not clicking for some reason. Just like we do every single week, right? We're going to talk a little bit about who we are, right? And then I will talk about the delays that are happening, okay? So I will tell you what is happening, what you can do, and what to watch out for, right? So we are going to go ahead and kind of go through all of that today, okay? So first off, who are we, right? We're Financial Aid Secrets. We're here every single week, right? Some of you I've seen here for, many, many weeks, right? You might be a little sick of me, but I am here every single Wednesday at 6 p.m., right? We might change the time later on, but 6 p.m. has been working for a lot of our families, so we're probably going to stick to that for now, okay? Now, we are here to make sure that you guys understand all the issues going on with financial aid, and we want to make sure that you guys save the money that your family deserves, okay? All we ask in return is that you stay engaged with us, right? If you have questions, ask us on Facebook, ask us on Discord, ask us through email, whatever way you can get to us, let us know. Our team is kind of monitoring all those systems, right? And so they will make sure that I get the message and then I can give you an answer. Sometimes it is something that is a little bit more technical or complicated, and I do need to talk it through with you because there's additional questions. In those situations, I might ask you to sign up for a call, but I'm not there on the call to sell you anything. I'm literally just going to be there to kind of listen to the situation, give you the advice, and then go on from there, okay? Our program, it's for people that want it, right? For people that don't, we do provide enough information so you can do things on your own, okay? Now, Financial Aid Secrets, we've been here for the last 15 years. We're going on 16 years soon, okay? And we are here to help families, kind of get rid of that sting of the college expenses that kind of hurt so many millions of families every single year, right? We want to make sure that your family gets the money they deserve, okay? So let's move on to kind of things that are happening now. So this year, okay, this is what's happening. The FAFSA was supposed to be fixed. It was supposed to be fixed last year, right? It is not fixed, okay? The original open date of the FAFSA has been October 1st for the last 16 years that I have been doing this, right? Last year was the first year since I've started doing financial aid that the process has ever been delayed, okay? This year, right? Again, sorry, there's more of the same that is going to happen, right? The actual open date is on December 1st, right? But we're not even sure about that, right? To be honest, okay? Now, what does that mean? It means expect delays. This means that just like last year, students are not going to know their financial aid situation, right? Until way later, right? And I don't mean like a month or 2 months. I'm talking about versus normal. It might be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 months later, okay? Just like I was talking about last year, I had students where their financial aid packages were finalized in July, okay? So be ready for delays, okay? It's just like when you go to the airport and you know your flight's going to be delayed because the weather sucks, right? You know it's there, you plan for it, but unfortunately, it still sucks, okay? But this is what's going to happen this year, right? Now, especially for students that are applying early action, early decision, right? A lot of colleges have been making preparations, but there's no real easy way around these delays because the form that is being delayed is the most critical form out of all of the financial aid forms. Okay. Now, what is going to happen with early action, early decision? For those that do not know, early action, early decision is an admissions process by which a kind of student applies by November 1st. Some schools are even October 15th, right? And then you get a decision back like before the end of the year, right? And then they tell you if you're in or not, right? Early action is not binding. You don't have to go. Early decision is binding and you do have to go, okay? Now, some colleges, what they're doing this year is that they're asking students to turn in the CSS profile first. The CSS profile has changed over the years, right? They've made cosmetic changes, they've done this, they've done that, but they really haven't changed the base premise of what they are doing. And so that form has been there for a while, okay? So instead of just turning in your FAFSA, some schools are asking you to turn in your CSS profile first, right? Over the last kind of couple weeks, we actually went over the CSS profile. We went over the FAFSA, right? So everyone hopefully should know what that is, right? If you don't, obviously ask for those previous replays, right? Now, some colleges are saying that they will not finalize awards until after they receive the FAFSA. Some schools are saying that they will give a preliminary award based on your CSS profile, right? But here is the kind of kicker. Each school has their own process to deal with the delay, okay? What that means is that it is much more complicated for families to go through this on their own because they're not sure exactly what needs to get done for particular schools at particular times, okay? Now, before we go further, just one quick thing. I do want to make sure that seniors that need help with their essays are getting help with it. And so a quick word from our sponsor, College Admission Secrets, okay? We have college essay service for the class of 2025. So if you're a student, and I know this might seem a little bit weird for our families that are in our program, has not started their PIQs, has not started their personal statement, this is perfect for you, right? We have an asynchronous kind of remote service that gives you feedback and video feedback on your essays, right? And then we make sure that your student is on track with their essays, telling the right story. So if you are interested in our college essay service, please text essay to 415-938-8721. I'm going to let people take a quick screenshot if they need to. So go ahead and do that. Okay. Now, back to the training, right? This is what the new timeline looks like. Okay. Now, I have been showing like this, like kind of like general timeline of financial aid because deep in my heart, I really hoped that FAFSA would kind of figure it out this year. They didn't, right? And so I was blindsided, right? I gave them so much trust, and then this is what I get in return, right? But this is more complicated than the normal timeline that I usually have been showing people, okay? But generally speaking, right, for current seniors right now, right? Parents, you will have filed your taxes in April, right? Your students start school in August, right? Now, if you are applying EA or ED, right? The things you might have to turn in your CSS, or there might be a school-specific form. One of the schools that had a school-specific form last year because of the delays with FAFSA was LMU, okay? LMU asked for their own institutional aid form instead of the CSS, instead of the FAFSA, and then they just verified everything with the FAFSA later. So by November, if you are applying EA or ED, you will need to have something into the schools you are applying, okay? Now, some schools, you might get a preliminary offer. Some schools, they might just hold on to it, right? Now, we did talk about early schools before, right? Early action schools, early decision schools. Because of the delay with the FAFSA, one of the things that might happen is that you might get in somewhere early decision. If you don't have your financial aid package back yet, then, well, you can't really make a decision. So in that situation, they'll probably give you a little bit of a pass on the actual deadline to sign up, right? Because, of course, you and your family need to make a decision based on the finances as well, okay? Now, December is usually when everything is turned in. But for us this year, February 2025 is probably going to be the date that colleges are going to ask families to complete the FAFSA by, okay? Now, every school is going to have a different deadline, right? But I looked at a couple, just the ones that popped into my head, and I did see a February deadline, okay? But that is to be determined, okay? And then finally, your college decisions will come out, your taxes may, and then your next year taxes obviously might be filed, they might not be filed, right, for the next year, but, right, it restarts over, right? This basically starts over going back to April, filing your taxes, and then doing everything for the second year, okay? So just keep this new timeline in mind here. Okay. Now, why is this a problem, right? So many people think, well, what's the big deal, right? We're going through all the same steps before, right? We're doing the FAFSA, we're doing the CSS, we're doing all these different things, right? Here's where people are going to mess up. Pay attention if you're not in our program and you're doing it by yourself, okay? With all the different deadlines, specific things that colleges are going to ask for instead of the FAFSA, right? A lot of students, a lot of parents are going to miss a certain form. They are going to miss a certain thing that needs to get done. Okay. So you need to stay organized, right? If you miss out on one form, right, it's game over, right? Just like that picture, right? It is literally game over. Okay. So you have to stay organized. Whatever way you do it. Maybe it's on a Google Doc. Maybe it's on like a Excel sheet. Whatever it is, you need to understand what the deadline is for each school, what needs to get turned in, right? And all these different things, right? So most schools, right, are suggesting that we wait, right, until December, right? There is a soft launch on October 1st, but we saw what happened last year. When they had the soft launch last year, I told people not to turn in their form, right? It was kind of like, oh yeah, we opened up. And I was like, you know what? Maybe we give it a couple weeks, right? And that's what I told everyone. I said, wait a couple weeks. Let's see if they've worked out all the kinks and then let's move forward, okay? But some people didn't listen to me, okay? So I had a bunch of families that were doing it on their own. They kind of did it the first day that FAFSA was available. And then their application got caught in limbo, right? It wasn't submitted. It wasn't not submitted. It wasn't getting processed. There was a huge problem. And if anyone here has an older student that has like gone through this financial aid process before, I don't know about you, but even more than like the DMV or the IRS, right? The IRS is like fast in comparison, right? The FAFSA, trying to get someone on the phone, it takes forever. Okay. I literally one time stayed on the phone for 6 hours. I was meeting with students. I was doing this. The music kept playing on my phone. I was like, okay, good background music all day. And then finally at like I called at like 9:30, right? I finally got on the phone with someone at like 3 o'clock. Okay. So we don't want you to be in limbo. So I want you to wait until the actual hard launch, right? A lot of colleges are kind of traumatized by what happened last year. There was a lot of kids in limbo, right? A lot of kids probably calling them like every single day to figure out what's going on with their financial aid, right? They're probably scarred from last year. To be honest, I'm probably a little scarred as well, right? But I know that the pain is coming again this year, right? So one thing that I will say to you is this: understand what each college wants. Do they want the CSS? Do they have a specific form? Do they want something else, right? So that you don't lose on any piece of the money that you should be getting, okay? Now, let's talk about the process this year in a nutshell, okay? So you need to follow the course, okay? So unlike other years, like I said, right, the CSS may play a more important role at the privates and the publics that use it. For schools that don't use the CSS, they're not just going to automatically start using it, okay? So if you're like, oh my gosh, like I can't turn in my FAFSA to a certain school and they don't accept the CSS, what do? Well, you probably missed something. There's probably a form on their website that you need to fill out instead of those things, okay? So unlike other years, the CSS will most likely be the first form that is submitted, right? Then in January, you're going to January, like December and January, hopefully everything is kind of out by then. You will turn in the FAFSA. Within 6 to 8 weeks, this is going to be processed, sent over to your school, and then your school should have enough time to look over it and then give you your final kind of awards, right? So the hope is, right, that you can get your final award by March or April, right? That is also that's the case for early action, early decision, or regular. That is the hope that we have. But again, just like I told you last year, we had the same debacle, right? And some students didn't get finalized until May, June, July. Okay, so just keep that in mind. Okay, now here are my predictions moving forward. Okay, the FAFSA will not be ready by October 1st. Okay, it's not going to be ready, right? I literally laugh at the prospect that it's going to be ready October 1st. Okay, I hope the government proves me wrong and they're able to laugh in my face, but I doubt it. The soft launch isn't going to happen. The real launch is not going to happen December 1st either. I don't think it's going to happen, right? Again, this year, financial aid offices are going to be overwhelmed, right, with less time to process and more delays in letting students know what their actual financial aid packages are, okay? There will be some students who get their admissions decisions in April, yet they will not have a financial aid award because the college either has not gotten their information yet or they haven't had enough time to process through it, right? So this is going to be another year where kind of our patience is severely tested, okay? Now, just know, for the class of 2025, it's not just you. There's millions of other kids that are going through the same thing. I do ask one thing, give your financial aid officers a little bit of slack, right? They had to go through this last year, and now they have to go through it this year again, right? I feel a little bit sorry for them, right? Well, I do and I don't, right? They should have lobbied to fix the process a long time ago. Unfortunately, they didn't. Okay. Now, one of the things I always tell families is you need to make sure to prepare. Okay. Making sure that you are ready for college expenses and understand what those college expenses are, right? You need to be saving in the right way, right? You need to be learning strategies to maximize your financial aid. Okay. Most of all, you need to talk to an expert, right? Whoever you feel comfortable with. It doesn't have to be me. But the one thing that I tell everyone that comes to our trainings and I talk to in person and I have consultations with is this. Last year, there was $2 billion in student financial aid that was left on the table, right? It was just there for the taking. No one took it. And then it's like, whoop, okay, I guess no one wants it. We move on, okay? So you need to talk to someone that can kind of figure out if you are eligible. And if you are eligible, then we figure out how much we can get you, okay? So I will have the consultation link in the chat later, right? So that we can discuss it further if I have not talked to you already, okay? Now, just some of our success stories, right? I have a family going to UC Davis, right? This is kind of like where their income was. This is their assets, all of these things, right? This family actually contacted me a little while ago and they're like, is this right? Right? And I was like, what do you mean? And they're like, we just got our bill for the first quarter, right? And it's like $670, right? And I'm like, yeah, is there something wrong? And they're like, why is it so little? And I said, because I saved you that much money. Okay. This family is going to UC Davis for $670 a quarter. Okay. That's like $1,900 a year. Well, actually, no, it's about 2,000. Sorry. It's about $2,000 a year. That's all they're paying. Okay. This family, right? Similar situation. They didn't think they were going to get anything, right? And every calculator that they used online told them that they weren't going to get anything. I got this family just over $50,000 a year. Okay. That's a total savings of $200,000. That is a down payment on a Bay Area home. Okay. So that's what I was able to save them. Right. And hopefully I can save it for you guys too. Okay. So if you guys are interested in our college essay service, please text essay to 415-938-8721. And also, if you are interested in talking to us about financial aid, please contact us. Okay. I'm going to put the link in the chat. Okay. For everyone that signs up for a consultation by 11:59 tonight, I'm going to add in an extra discount on top of the discounts we've already been doing. Okay. A lot of families are like, oh, well, what about me? Right. If that's, if you signed up with us recently, you probably did get the best price, right? The prices have increased, right? But if you do call in by 11:59, or not call in, if you do book your consultation by 11:59 tonight, I am willing to provide you with a different discount kind of schedule so that you can kind of get the savings that our families that just signed up just got. Okay. So if you are interested, go ahead and book your consultation. The link is in the chat. But otherwise, I did want to also make sure to open up to Q&A, right? There's a lot of uncertainty right now about kind of, well, everything in the world, right? There's multiple kind of conflicts going on in the world. The stock market took a huge crash last month, right? So a lot of families are like, oh gosh, I'm not sure what's going to happen in the future, right? Even more of a reason to make sure that you're saving money, right? Every dollar that you don't have to spend on college can be stored away, right? Can be saved, can be kind of put towards other uses, right? So I do want to make sure that families understand their situation. Now, I haven't done this in a while, but I will kind of put it out there again. If you are a family and you're kind of sitting here and you're thinking, "Oh, our family makes a little bit too much money, right? We're not going to qualify for financial aid." You're the family I need to talk to, right? I tell families all the time, if you're making $1 million a year, I can't help you, right? Or over that, right? If you're making a whole lot more, there might be other options, right? But there is not necessarily anything I can do for you on the financial aid side, right? But if you're making two, three, four, five, $600,000 a year, right? I've helped families in that range kind of my whole career. Okay. So I want to make sure that you guys are the ones that I talk to, right? There's no harm. It's 15 minutes. We talk it through. If I can help you, great. If I can't help you, that's okay too. I'll give you a couple tips, a couple pieces of advice, and then send you on your way. Okay. So I will open it up for kind of Q&A right now. And so you guys can go ahead and put your questions in the Q&A or in the chat, right? If you're a little shy about your question, that's okay. You can go ahead and put it, set it to either just sending it to hosts and panelists, right? Or you can go ahead and put in the Q&A. No one can see the questions in the Q&A. I don't read names, right? I don't think that's important. I'll just kind of describe your situation and give you the answer. Okay, so I'm gonna give people a little time to do that. And then I will kind of answer your questions. I see everyone furiously typing. I'm ready to answer these questions. Okay, we have a question in the Q&A. Okay. Uh, okay, so this is another kind of like area where I tell people like, okay, you are definitely on the wrong track, right? So the question is, so like my sister's kid did not get any financial aid. Like, I don't think we're gonna get anything either, right? Should we still sign up for a consultation? Yes, you should sign up for a consultation, because if you're taking someone else's kind of situation and using it as your own, well, yeah, you might be really close to your sister, but do you know what her tax returns look like? Do you know how much her husband makes? Right? Do you know how much they have in savings? Do you know how much they have in retirement? Do you know all these things? Well, if you do, right? Well, I commend you, because you guys are a very close family. But most families, they don't, right? You guys might live in similar houses, right? But maybe they put maybe you guys both live in $1 million houses, but one person put down $800,000 and their mortgage is only 200,000. Another person might have put down 5%, right, and bought their house, and so your mortgage is 950,000, right? There's a lot of differences between families, even though from the outside they seem very similar. You guys might drive the same cars. You guys might go to the same private school. You guys might go to, eat at the same places. But the situations can be drastically different. Okay. So just because someone told you that their kid didn't get any doesn't mean anything for you. Okay. We have a question. So this is more of like a college admissions question. It's kind of about like Notre Dame. They have gone kind of no loans, right? They're trying to fill your need with all free money, right? Can you talk about what you heard about going to a well-known Catholic school where the majority of the student body is Catholic? You'd actually be surprised. The majority of Notre Dame is not Catholic. Okay. They have so Notre Dame is a school where, yes, they might have kind of like religion classes, but they don't have to be about espousing religion. It's literally about like learning the history of it, right? The one thing that I will say is that Notre Dame is not a school that is known for its diversity, right? So if your student is thinking about going there, right? I mean, you can apply now, but you should obviously visit that school to see if it is the right fit, right? So yeah, you should be fine. Okay. We have another question here. It says, if I co-parent but do not live with my son's father, will I need to input his income on financial aid forms or just use your own information? So this is a very kind of like sensitive issue. The answer should be like whoever has custody, right? So co-parenting, I don't know if it's exactly 50-50, right? So in reality, wherever your son spends most of his time, that person should be filling out the forms. Okay. All right. So good questions. Good questions. All right. So I don't see any other questions. So I'm going to leave you with this, right? Again, one more time, I'm going to put the link in the chat, right? 11:59 tonight. Don't blame me later when it's like, oh, can I get that same discount that my friend got? Sorry, it's gone, right? Again, I don't control these links, right? My partner in crime, right? Coach Tony controls these links. So once he shuts them off, it's done, right? He's the one that has control. I have no control over the different links that we have, okay? So if you are interested in talking to me about financial aid, right? And to be honest with you, most of you should, right? Then go ahead, sign up for that consultation before 11:59 tonight so that you can receive that discount. Okay. All right. And with that, I will kind of end it off here, right? The weather is really weird where I'm at. It's super hot. It was super hot yesterday, 95. It is 73 degrees today. And then tomorrow it's 81. And then next week it's 90 again. So I have no idea what's going on with the climate, right? All I know is that I'm not sure if I should wear kind of like long sleeve or short sleeve, right? But one of the things I do want to kind of make sure that you guys know is that I am here for you to answer your questions. Thank you for that kind of like nugget there, right? So thank you for every week on sharing your expertise. I am glad to be here. I just hope that more people would know about it so that they could kind of get the information that they needed. Okay, so you might have friends, cousins, family members that are headed off to college. Send them the link. I don't care. I want you guys to flood my calendar, right? And if I have to sit there for 10 hours a day talking to people about financial aid, I will do it. Okay. So make sure that anyone that you know that needs help gets this link, right? Copy, paste it somewhere. And then if you guys do need questions answered, things like that, sign up for a consultation and I'll talk to you then. Okay. All right. So I'll see you guys next week. Hopefully I have less exciting news, because the less exciting the news is, right, that means that things are going according to plan, right? But I feel like something else is going to come up during this next week with financial aid, and then I will have some more exciting things to tell you. Okay, so everyone have a good night, and I will talk to you guys again next week. All right. Bye-bye.